So what makes BMW stand out from a competitor? Are all these cars the same, but with just, different body styling and logos? It may be difficult to spot the difference, but there is a different approach to these vehicles that actually make it unique, and it helps differentiate BMW vehicles from others on the market. So in this video, I wanted to touch on what the main features of a BMW are that help to set it apart. First, we'll touch on performance. So one of the traits of a BMW is the near 50-50 weight balance. Now, models in the BMW lineup have their weight pretty evenly distributed from the front to the rear of the vehicle. If you have an applicable BMW, you may have wondered why your 12-volt battery is in the trunk, and now you know why. Weight distribution. The better distribution of weight can help contribute to better handling of the vehicle and more consistent braking when compared to a front-end heavy vehicle. Many other brands have a more of a 60-40 weight distribution with a heavier front end. So a nose-heavy vehicle traditionally suffers from understeer, and braking is also affected. Since most can relate to the shopping cart analogy, it's one that I like to use. So when you're at the store pushing an empty cart and navigating the aisles, this is more similar to like a 50-50 weight distribution. The cart is easy to maneuver. But if someone were to stand on the front of the cart and then you try to turn down the aisles, maneuvering becomes much more difficult. Now, this is similar to a front-end heavy vehicle. So the person standing on the front of the cart helps to illustrate how that front-end heavy vehicle responds to the weight in that location. And I'm not saying that 50-50 is the most optimal weight distribution setup that you can have for performance, but I think it is a performance improvement when compared to those who are manufacturing front-end heavy vehicles. So let's not forget that BMW makes passenger vehicles and not supercars designed for max performance. I think we've all seen the supercars with the mid-engine setups, and we kind of recognize that this may offer better performance, but clearly sacrifices other features such as a passenger cabin. Another feature is rear-wheel drive. So this contributes again to the 50-50 weight balance, but also helps to illustrate the performance-oriented DNA the brand offers. Performance vehicles have traditionally had a rear-wheel drive setup and not a front-wheel drive setup. Front-wheel drive models are common because they are more compact and usually cost a little bit less. So the front-wheel drive setup can also result in a nose-heavy design, which leads to understeer when cornering and wheel spin under hard acceleration. Although some vehicles are promoted as all-wheel drive vehicles, they can still be front-wheel biased. Just wanted to point out that BMW does have a front-wheel vehicle in their lineup, or vehicles in their lineup. So they're not completely immune to the front-wheel drive. They first released front-wheel drive in their X1, the F48 model year 2016, but the majority of the vehicles in the lineup are rear-wheel drive still. And if they're all-wheel drive, the majority are rear-wheel biased. Inline 6 engines are another hallmark. So the Inline 6 has been a hallmark for BMW for some time now. Many other manufacturers offer a 6-cylinder, but usually in a V6 configuration. Some manufacturers have even worked with BMW to use BMW motors in a vehicle. A benefit of the Inline 6 is the balance, which is clear when considering the piston configuration when compared to a V6 configuration. And although this has been a hallmark for some time, I wouldn't be surprised to see this specific feature start to fade a little bit. With the way the industry is moving toward electric and other alternative fuel sources, we may see a new motor become the hallmark of the brand. And to add a note to this specific section, BMW doesn't only specifically offer Inline 6 motors, but has stood strong in offering the Inline 6 in some of their popular models in the lineup. So those were some performance hallmarks. Now let's touch on some of the design elements from BMW. BMW Roundel is just, iconic. It's one of the most recognizable brand logos out there as far as brands go in general. They have recently made an update to the logo. The iconic white and blue kind of squares from the Bavarian flag that they sourced are still very prominent in the design. So I think this is probably the most recognizable aspect of the logo. And touching on that real quick, just to clear this common misconception up, the white and blue is not from spinning plane propellers in a blue sky. It's from the brand incorporating the Bavarian flag in the logo. Another design element is the kidney grills. This has definitely been a point of debate over the last couple of years with the debut of pretty large kidney grills rolling out across the lineup. But nonetheless, regardless of one's opinion on the aesthetics of the front end, BMW is well known for this design element being incorporated on the front of their vehicles. There have been many variations of the kidney grills throughout the years, and there will be for years to come. BMW vehicles are so easily identifiable to even the untrained eye, and this is one of the main factors why that is. Another element is the Hofmeister Kink. One of the lesser known design elements is the Hofmeister Kink, and it's named after a designer who worked with BMW and began to incorporate the design in the early 1960s. And it's been integrated in the design of new models ever since. The feature can be found about the C-pillar of the vehicle, and the bend or kink is said to be the way the brand communicates the rear-wheel drive element through the design. So although the feature is incorporated in each model's design, the execution does vary from model to model. And another design element is the quad headlights. This is a design feature that you may not know that you know. Kidney grills are arguably the most recognizable design feature, but this is another element that helps to make a BMW look like a BMW. For years, BMW has had a quad headlight. In earlier models, there were 4 separate headlamps, but now you see more often reference to this design element in the daytime running lights. Now pretty much all manufacturers incorporate their own stylized versions of the daytime running lights, but when BMW debuted their halo headlights, aka the Corona rings, their vehicles really stood out on the road. One could easily spot an oncoming BMW solely by recognizing the Corona rings from the headlights. So those are the brand hallmarks that I thought were most notable. Let me know if you can think of some other good brand hallmarks that weren't mentioned here. And if you guys want to leave a comment on some video content that you're eager to see, please leave that below as well. Hope to see you guys in the next video.